If you feel like staying in bed all day, stop everything. This isn't laziness. There comes a moment in life when something strange starts to happen. You wake up, but you don't want to get up. It's not exactly sadness. It's not ordinary tiredness. It's as if your body is saying, "No, not today." And the scariest part, you can't explain why. Even before you open your eyes, that silent weight is already there in your chest. A dense feeling, hard to name. And then the guilt comes. I'm falling behind. There's something wrong with me. I should be doing more. But here's what no one told you. Maybe that weight isn't a sign of failure. Maybe it's a sign of transition. Most people try to fight it. They force themselves. They judge themselves. They pressure themselves. But the more they try to ignore it, the more intense the feeling becomes. What if what's happening isn't a block, but a strategic pause from your own soul? Your body doesn't waste energy for no reason. When it slows down, there's a reason. It's not a lack of motivation. It's energy being reallocated. You think you're losing strength. But in reality, something inside you is conserving strength for a change that isn't visible yet. And this is where the fear begins. That quiet thought, what if I never go back to who I was? What if I stay like this forever? You look at yourself and think, I used to be lighter, I used to be more excited. Where did that version of me go? Breathe. You are not broken. You are not failing. You have not disappeared. You are crossing a threshold. There is a phase in life that feels like an internal blackout, as if something has been turned off. But it's not an ending, it's a reconfiguration. It's the space between an identity that no longer serves you and another one that is still being built. And that space is uncomfortable. Your body slows down because your inner world is reorganizing everything. Beliefs, desires, direction, priorities. You are being prepared for something you still cannot see clearly. That's why the desire to stay lying down increases. That's why the world feels unbearably heavy. It's not that you are falling apart. You are rebuilding. And almost no one talks about this phase because the people who go through it usually only understand it later. When they look back and realize that that strange period was the exact point where everything began to change. You think you've hit rock bottom. But maybe you're just at the doorway to a deeper version of yourself. And this pause is not your end. It is the silence before transformation. Yes, the confusion is part of it. The feeling of emptiness. The sense that everything around you looks the same, yet somehow nothing feels the same. This is the stage that comes before clarity, before alignment, before the quiet shift that changes everything inside. You are not at the end of the road. You are standing in front of a door you haven't opened yet. And even if you can't see what exists on the other side, the weight you feel is already a map. It shows exactly where you are, in the prelude to a transformation. Your body knows, your spirit knows, and soon your mind will understand too. There is something almost no one realizes. The body speaks long before the mind agrees to listen. It doesn't argue, it doesn't explain, it doesn't ask permission. It simply reacts. And that reaction can appear as fatigue, as resistance, as that strange difficulty even getting out of bed. It's not weakness, it's communication. Your body is the oldest and most honest system you have. It detects emotional truths that your mind is still trying to rationalize or avoid. It knows when you keep frequenting environments that no longer match who you are becoming. It knows when your inner priorities have changed, but your outer routine has remained the same. It knows when you're smiling out of politeness while something inside you has already said no. And when that truth grows too strong to ignore, the body turns up the volume. That's why many times you feel physical heaviness before you feel emotional clarity. The unconscious does not speak in organized sentences. It speaks in sensations. When you feel like lying down for hours, when even small movements seem to require excessive effort, that is your body translating something your deepest self has already understood. It is forcing you to pause, and the cruelest part of all is that instead of listening, you blame yourself. Why am I like this? What's wrong with me? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect you. When it realizes your energy is being drained by a misaligned life, it slows you down. It cuts the excess. It turns off autopilot. That is not sabotage, it is protection. If this state has lasted days or weeks, it's because there is something your soul refuses to keep ignoring. And here is a difficult truth. There is a kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix. You can rest, you can sleep 8 hours, you can take a vacation, and still wake up exhausted. Because this kind of exhaustion does not come from the physical body. It comes from living a reality that no longer fits who you are becoming. When your outer world conflicts with your inner truth, the body feels it immediately. If your routine drains you, your energy disappears. If your habits no longer make sense, your motivation evaporates. If your relationships do not grow with you, your spirit grows heavy. And you don't always notice this consciously, but your energy notices. It simply refuses to sustain a version of your life that no longer reflects your evolution. And then the disconnection begins. Things that once excited you no longer trigger a reaction. Goals that once felt important now seem empty. You feel like you're playing a role instead of living authentically. This is the kind of exhaustion that arises when the soul decides you can no longer pretend. It will not allow you to keep living a story that has already ended internally. And as uncomfortable as that may be, this is the exact point where real change begins. And here is what makes all of this so powerful. This process does not require you to understand everything right now. It only requires that you stop wasting energy trying to sustain what is no longer true for you. That's why you can spend the entire day lying down and feel nothing but emptiness. Or you can try to be productive and still end the day exhausted. The energy hasn't disappeared. It has been withdrawn, stored away, waiting for something authentic to exist again in your life. Misalignment is not a flaw. It is a transition. When something inside you decides it will no longer accept living halfway, the body responds. Motivation decreases. Tasks feel heavy. Strength seems to evaporate. But it isn't weakness. It's redirection. Your energy wants to go somewhere else, toward a choice you haven't yet had the courage to make, toward a truth you haven't yet spoken out loud. And until you acknowledge that, your body will keep slowing you down. Because it knows the moment you say yes to what is real, everything begins to flow again. When the heaviness comes, your impulse will be to fight it, to force yourself, to try to recover the old version of who you were. But fighting only increases resistance. There is something far more powerful you can do: change the interpretation. Instead of seeing the desire to lie down as shame, see it as a calling, not as collapse, but as an invitation. The next time you feel the need to stop, don't run from it. Before lying down, stay present with the sensation for a few seconds. Silently ask yourself, what within me is asking for attention? Breathe slowly. Close your eyes, allow the silence, and say, even if only inside, I am willing to listen. In that moment, what seemed like weakness transforms into ritual. Rest stops being an escape and becomes reconnection. Stop filling the silence with noise. No scrolling, no automatic distractions. No numbing the stillness. Emptiness is not empty, it is space. And it is in space that clarity is born. The more you stop resisting rest, the faster lucidity returns. Because clarity is not born from pressure, it is born from permission. Most people run from this stage. They distract themselves, they overload their schedules, they numb themselves with stimulation. You don't. And that makes you rare. One of the hardest parts is the isolation. It feels like everyone else is functioning normally while you feel heavy, slow, different. But what you don't see is that many people feel the same way. The difference is that they ignore it. You don't ignore it, you feel it. And feeling deeply is not weakness. It is inner maturity. It is a sign that your soul is too alive to accept an automatic path. You are not lying down because you are broken. You are lying down because something in you is honest enough to stop pretending. It takes courage to feel what others avoid. It takes sensitivity to notice misalignment before it becomes disaster. It takes awareness to sense change before it becomes visible. You are not behind, you are ahead. You are feeling the transformation before it becomes concrete. And those who feel first always grow first. And then, almost without noticing, something begins to change. The weight that once felt permanent starts to loosen. Your breathing becomes lighter. A small impulse returns. It isn't explosive, it's subtle, but it's real. And suddenly, what once felt like stagnation reveals itself as preparation. You were not stuck. You were being recalibrated. And when the new version of you finally walks through that door, you will look back and understand. That period in bed was not your end. It was the necessary silence before your rebirth. Change does not begin with fireworks. It begins with something almost imperceptible, a slightly lighter sigh, the willingness to sit up in bed without that crushing weight, the impulse to open the window, just to let the air in. Nothing grand, nothing dramatic, but enough. That is the sign. When your inner layers finish reorganizing, energy begins to return, not like an explosion, but like a sunrise. All this time, you thought you were standing still. But in truth, you were rebuilding. Imagine a house being renovated from the inside. During the construction, no one can move around normally. There is dust, silence, interruption. But that does not mean abandonment. It means preparation. Your energy was pulled into the underground of your own consciousness. It was busy strengthening the foundation. That's why you couldn't move forward before. It wasn't a block. It was inner construction. And when that reconstruction is complete, you won't have to force anything. You don't need to convince yourself. You don't need to fake motivation. It returns on its own, like the first light after a long night. This period was your inner winter. In winter, everything looks dead on the surface. The trees stand bare. The ground hardens. Movement slows down. But underneath, the roots are working. And when winter ends, you don't jump straight into spring. You thaw. You return in layers. One day you feel like organizing something small. The next you notice you can think more clearly. Then you realize the emotional fog is beginning to lift. And it's essential to notice this when it happens, because this return proves something important. You didn't lose time. You were investing in visible energy. Rest didn't steal your strength. It restored the strength that was being drained by a misaligned life. And when that energy comes back, it feels different, cleaner, stronger, more aligned. You begin to feel like yourself again, but not the old version. A more conscious version, more honest, more stable. The weight doesn't disappear because you fought it. It disappears because the inner work is done. And then another difficult layer of this process appears: shame. Often it hurts more than the exhaustion itself. You're lying there, and your mind starts accusing you. You should be doing more. You're falling behind. Look at everything that hasn't been done. You mentally revisit every pending task, every ignored message, every postponed responsibility. And while your body can't move, your mind starts attacking you. This is the cruelest part. It's not the physical weight, it's the internal judgment. It's fear whispering, "What if I stay like this forever?" But listen closely. There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing. That guilt is not your essence. It is programming. You were taught that your worth depends on your productivity, that resting is failing, that pausing is weakness. You were conditioned to believe you only deserve recognition when you are producing. So when your body asks for a pause, your mind reacts with shame. But that shame doesn't come from your soul. It comes from expectations that no longer align with who you are becoming. And here is something almost no one realizes. Guilt is often the last obstacle before liberation. It appears when the old identity is dissolving. It is the final resistance of the version of you who lived to meet external expectations. It emerges because it is being expelled. It does not belong to the next phase of your life. It is surfacing to be released. And when you cross this layer, when you stop judging yourself for needing rest, something deep breaks open. Your worth has always been in your consciousness, in your ability to feel, to notice misalignments, to choose not to keep living a comfortable lie. And that is strength. You realize that your worth was never tied to speed, never tied to constant productivity, never tied to how much you can silently endure. Guilt is not failure. It is the sign that you are letting go of the version of yourself that lived to meet expectations. You are not weak for needing to lie down. You are not failing for needing to pause. You are not disappointing anyone by respecting your limits. You are, for the first time, being honest with yourself, and there is something almost no one admits. Those who feel the most guilt are usually the ones who carried the heaviest burdens. They are the people who endured everything, who stayed strong for years, who solved problems in silence, who never allowed themselves to fall apart. For these people, resting feels like betrayal, but it is not betrayal. It is liberation. It is the moment when your soul says, you no longer need to survive. You are not surrendering because you lost the battle. You are surrendering because you have stepped out of war mode, and when that guilt begins to dissolve, something powerful arises in its place. Permission. Permission to rest without justification. Permission to exist without performing. Permission to choose yourself before the world chooses for you. This is not giving up. It is a return. It is you giving yourself back to yourself. And then comes another layer of this process: isolation. Perhaps you've noticed. Suddenly, your desire to socialize diminishes. Conversations feel tiring. Replying to messages takes too much energy. You start avoiding invitations, postponing responses, feeling exhausted just imagining interactions. And this is frightening. You wonder if you are becoming distant, cold, disconnected, but you are not. This kind of withdrawal is not rejection, it is alignment. When your internal structure is being recalibrated, your soul reduces external interference. Every opinion, every expectation, every emotional energy from someone else, all of it begins to weigh on you, and now you can no longer carry what isn't yours. That is why silence becomes necessary. This distancing is not antisocial, it is energetic detox. You carried projections, carried emotional responsibilities that weren't yours, carried invisible expectations, and the only way to free yourself is by creating space. Space where no one invades your internal compass, where no voice overpowers your intuition, where your energy doesn't mix with anyone else's. That is why superficial conversations feel unbearable. That is why even deep conversations can feel too heavy. That is why small things begin to irritate. It is not impatience, it is preservation. Your emotional capacity is being directed towards something greater, your realignment. You have no extra energy to perform, please, or manage other people's emotions. Your entire system is turned inward, and even if it feels like loneliness, it is not abandonment, it is preparation. You are clearing the ground before building. You are reorganizing your foundation before returning to the world. And when this period ends, because it does end, you will not return as you were before. You will return more whole, more selective, more aligned, more conscious of where and with whom your energy should be. The world may have interpreted your pause as weakness, but in reality, you are gathering strength, and when you return, it will not be to survive, it will be to live in a way that finally makes sense. You are not disappearing, you are being guided into a stillness that recalibrates your system, reorganizes your emotions, and strengthens parts of you that have been overburdened for too long. This is not punishment. It is not regression. It is refinement. People who go through deep transformations almost always experience a period of solitude, not because they failed, but because they are being rebuilt. You are not withdrawing from the world. You are returning to yourself. And when this phase ends, you will reconnect, not out of obligation, not out of neediness, not out of exhaustion, but because you will finally feel whole enough to be in the world without losing yourself in it. If you feel drained, perhaps you are about to be born into a new version of yourself. Every true transformation begins in silence. The seed grows in the dark before breaking through the soil. The trees seem dead in winter while preparing to bloom. The cocoon seems like an end, but it is metamorphosis. And that is exactly where you are. Your rest is your cocoon. It is not weakness, it is not a step backward. It is the sanctuary where your next version is being built. You cannot rush this. You cannot feel ashamed and try to return to who you no longer are. You cannot run from a transformation happening at the core of your being. But also remember, caring for your spiritual self does not exclude caring for your physical self. Sometimes fatigue is biological too. Sometimes the body needs concrete support. Honoring your soul also means respecting your body, seeking help, getting checkups, talking to someone. This does not diminish your journey. It strengthens it. And when everything aligns, you will feel it. The weight will ease, clarity will return, energy will arise, clean, stable, true. And then you will understand, you were never lost, you were transforming. If this message spoke to you, perhaps it is because you needed to hear it today. Take care of yourself, respect your time, and remember, silence is not the end. It is the invisible beginning of something new. See you in the next video.